This is Gardening in America, and I'm Ed Hume. All of us today are concerned about the quality of air in the home. Since the energy crisis, of course, our homes are so tight that it locks in a lot of the pollutants. So what do these plants have in common? These all help purify the air in the home. And probably a couple of the best plants of the flowering plants are the evergreen azaleas, which can be set out into the garden after all danger of frost is past, and the Christmas poinsettia. Now there are many others, but those are two of the seasonal plants that fit in really well. Notice one other thing about these plants. Not only do they purify the air, but as you can see, they're among the easiest plants to grow in the home. Many of them, of course, taking low light conditions. Here's one of the most popular of the trailing plants. This is a plant called pothos, or we commonly call it the philodendron. The variegated varieties seem to be the best. Another very common plant, the ivies, particularly the Boston ivy. They are very easy to grow, and the English ivy too, and do well as a plant to purify the air. Here's another one that does very well too, the dracaena. The one thing you want to watch on dracaena, sometimes here on the point of the leaf, they will die back, and that's caused by salts from fertilizers, or it can be caused by fluorides or chlorine in the water. So maybe you want to use drinking water when you water that particular plant. This is the Chinese evergreen, an exceptionally easy plant to grow with low light conditions and beautiful variegation in the foliage, and yet it purifies the air at the same time. And speaking of easy to grow plants, this is a dwarf form of this plant, and we call this the peace lily or white flag plant. The botanical name is Spathiphyllum, but the beauty of this is it'll take low light again in the home, and yet it purifies the air at the same time. So there are dwarf varieties and the taller growing varieties. Bamboo palm is another plant that does an excellent job of purifying the air. Now keep in mind one thing. It, like the dracaena, will burn on the tips if there's fluoride or chlorine in the water, or if you fertilize it too often. So maybe give it a drinking water or a fairly pure water. Another plant that does very well, of course, is this one, the Sansevierius. And there are several different forms of it. And another plant that helps purify the air is the spider plant. These plants are not only beautiful in the home, but they take trichloroethylene, benzene, and formaldehyde out of the air. So purify the air in the home and enjoy the beauty of houseplants.